Welcome back to Pop Culture Roundup, a podcast where we round up the latest news and talk all things pop culture. I'm your host, Jonah Park, and today we review Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And man, guys, this was a crazy movie. I mean, just to start off the bat with... But not only that, then to mention that, like... But that's not all. You really think about it, and then all of a sudden... And that's crazy enough, right? We could end there and we can say, you know what, that's just it. That's the end of it. But then you think about the time where... And that was just intense. That was crazy. I mean, to think of that character dying in that specific way, when it was very similar to the way that... That was enough. We could have ended there. The movie should have been over. But then it goes on for another 2 hours and 40 minutes, in which case... So yeah. By the way, just want to mention, there are spoilers in this episode. So if you haven't watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, we're going free game. I mean, we keep it pretty tame in terms of, you know, our spoilers and stuff. But from this point on, you know, it's going to get crazy. So welcome to this episode of the Pop Culture Roundup. Oh my gosh, wait a second. I forgot the most important detail of that story was... All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Jaden is eating the fattest breakfast burrito at approximately 9:25 his time. So that's fun.
Yummy.
It looks really good. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm so very yummy.
I'm pretty hungry myself, so it looks fantastic. Today we are going to be reviewing... Oh my gosh. He just French kissed his breakfast burrito. So that was something.
It's the love of my life.
Today we're going to be reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I don't know. Wakanda Forever. There we go.
Wakanda, baby.
We are going to be getting into spoiler territory. So please, if you have not seen the movie and do not want it to be spoiled for you, please do not continue on further on this journey.
You know what's funny? Me and Ty and James, we did the same thing.
Oh,
we spoiled the entire movie.
Yeah,
straight up. We said it, all of it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all of it today. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to know about it, turn back.
Right.
I literally just got home from watching the movie, so it is fresh in my mind. Jaden saw it last night.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been in the loop. We have not talked about this at all, which is pretty crazy because typically whenever either one of us gets out of a movie, we instantly text each other and like, hey, this is it, like, not spoil it for one another, but it's like, this is what I thought about the movie, basically.
Right.
Jaden is eating his burrito.
Bro, they did not mix in this cheese very well.
Is it on, like, you know how like burritos, you know how you get like one ingredient on one side of the burrito?
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's really good. Other times you're like, dang, man. You know what?
Yeah, it's ruining the burrito.
If you just flipped it to where, you know how it's like, well, I mean, he's a third of he's 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah.
But if you were like to take that burrito that's like this right now, and then like do this.
I tried.
You did. And
yeah, I was trying to like, it's stuck to that side.
Dang. It's kind of like sucky when a burrito does that.
I hate life right now.
Oh.
Because, like, that was my burrito.
It was your burrito.
And now it's making me sick because I'm tasting all this cheese at once.
Yeah.
Uno momento.
Okay.
For like 5 seconds. Watch this. 1. Okay, longer than 5 seconds. Hold on.
Well, everybody, while we're waiting, let's take a moment to reflect on the past. It's happened before. I will say, I'm actually not going to say anything about my review yet because I do want to wait until we can actually have a full discussion on this. I don't want to give away my opinion on as a very loose and not explained reason. You know what I mean? And we talk about that on the podcast. We really go in depth on what's happening and what happened when and why and where.
What happened?
We're just going on a journey to nowhere, basically. We're going on the treadmill of a conversation.
Oh?
A lot of walking, but not really getting anywhere.
We're walking?
Well, we could be.
So I can't find my scissors, and my scissors have a bottle opener. Don't worry, it's not alcohol. It's
It is
a fruity drink.
But we're both 21 and we're both grown men. So if you have
Yes.
a problem with that,
Then suck it up.
Buttercup.
Yeah, so I have to use this flathead screwdriver.
Yeah. What is it called again? What is that drink?
Mandarin Harito.
Yeah. Dude,
it's working.
It's some good stuff.
This is actually working a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically off.
Wait. Okay. So here's. Oh, did you already pop it off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, typically what I do is I hold the neck up at the very top of it. I put the screwdriver over it, and then I take the bottle and I just bash it up against concrete, and then it breaks open, and that typically works for me.
See, I've tried that before, and I straight up cut my hand.
I'm totally messing with you. Because you bust open the bottle and then the soda kind of falls all over the place.
Yeah. I was joking too.
Oh.
I didn't cut my hand.
Oh. The look of defeat you just gave. You said, Jaden, since you were currently eating, do you want me to just give my take and then whenever you're done, you can interject?
Yeah.
Sweet. I think Wakanda Forever is the best MCU movie of 2022. Let that sink in. Let's think about you know what? I'm going to do some research because to my knowledge, the only two MCU movies that have come out this year are Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder. MCU movies of 2022. Let's see. We have Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, I don't count that.
I don't count that as a movie though. Yeah, so we also have Morbius, but that's not MCU, and that's
I don't know what you're talking about. That was probably one of the best movies I ever did see in my life.
You know what? We saw that one together actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both walked away being like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't good either.
Right. It had potential that it didn't reach.
Yeah. So that being said, with Thor Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness being the only two really MCU movies out this year, I will say that Wakanda Forever is the best of 2022. Best MCU movie of 2022.
And I'm going to disagree and say it was one of the worst movies I ever watched. Nah, just kidding.
We're about to stop being friends there for a second. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. But I think the movie does a very good job at its the way it tells its story, because I think we are in terms of the writing, right? MCU movies lately have been very comedy centered. It started with movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was really funny. Then, it moved on to movies like Ant-Man, also really funny. And then it just kind of became like a trope that was constantly there, constantly like in every single movie. And it made us laugh for sure, but it like took over the genre basically, so that action wasn't, not even just action, but like I don't know. But I think in this movie it plays its comedy very well.
Right.
It's not as frequent at all. There are moments of levity, and I think they fit into the story very, very nicely. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like it's distracting from the actual plot. It feels like it just kind of flows very nicely. I think it is one of the better writing, one of the better scripts and plot development of Marvel. And I think in terms of acting, everyone did a phenomenal job.
Right.
There were some moments definitely where the writing was just off and like the plot was kind of like, I was talking to Kenzie about this. I love when you give exposition on something that we as the audience don't understand yet because it's a new concept that they're introducing. But I love when you do that in a creative way that doesn't make it seem like it's forced or make it seem like it's, just not beneficial to the actual story itself. A great example of like creative exposition, which is exposition just basically means explaining different things in the movie that are new to us.
Right.
But a great example of very creative exposition that I really love is in Monsters Incorporated when, you're first starting off the movie and obviously it's a new world. There's a bunch of monsters and you're like, what is going on? And it doesn't really make sense. And then the commercial comes on that with Mike and Sully, and they're at the very end of the commercial, but they're watching it because they want to see themselves in it, but they have to watch the whole commercial. In that whole commercial, you get the explanation of what this world is and how it works basically. Right. And I think that's like such an amazing way to give exposition, explain different parts of the world that we may not understand.
Right.
And I think this movie does a good job at that. There are moments though where I'm like, that was it. It's not that it's lazy. It's just not. There are better ways to go about doing that than what was done there.
Like what? Like when?
I can't. That's the thing. And I was trying to recall a specific moment.
For those listening, he is processing.
I am processing. That's why there's so much silence. I don't know. It'll have to be something where I watch it again in order to really like get behind that statement and really like
believe it.
Get to the bottom of whether I believe it or not. Yeah. But there are other.
You're just saying things.
No, I mean, like I know. I remember thinking that during the movie. I just can't remember at which part I felt that way. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall, really love the story. Really love the writing. I think they did a tribute to Chadwick very, very well, while still giving us a compelling story that is not separate of Chadwick, but does continue on that legacy in different ways. And I appreciate that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you rate the movie overall? Out of 10.
I'd probably say an 8. I think a solid 8. Honestly, maybe like an 8.5, like an upper 8. I would rate that. So,
No, I have another question.
Yes.
This one or the first one?
Definitely this one. Love the first one. Love what it does for the world building. Love Chadwick in it. I think there's even some really compelling parts of the plot that are really nice. Definitely this one though. Like this is evolution in the best term of starting out with a movie and then enhancing it with the sequel. This is like that is how trilogies should be done.
Right.
Not to say this is a trilogy, but you know what I mean. Like
right. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on this?
So I don't know about if this one's better than the first one because I want to watch the first one again and kind of like think that over.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I liked the storyline in this one more so.
Yeah.
It did feel pretty empty without Chadwick there, knowing it's a Black Panther movie and he's not the Black Panther anymore.
Yeah.
But I think the direction in where they went was really good for Shuri as a character.
Yeah.
I loved that we got to see her struggles. Yeah. Going throughout all of this by herself, quite literally now. Like, yeah. And she's like early 20s, like 20, 21, 22, something like that. Yeah. So to see her kind of battle this war inside of her head, and we see that when she becomes Black Panther, like, we quite literally see what's going on, which I thought that scene was beautifully done. Yeah. I thought what they did for it was super cool.
Yes. Definitely a shock.
Huge shock. And yeah. I'm really glad I didn't see any of the trailers because I don't know. Because in the trailer, don't they show off like the new Black Panther suit?
Yes. I think if you know anything about me, I see a lot of spoilers just in my heyday.
That's rough.
So I know a lot before going into the movie.
That's unfortunate.
Yet there was a lot that I was not privy to going into this movie. They do show off the Black Panther suit though.
See? Yeah. I didn't think Shuri was Black Panther.
Really?
Until they said, "Oh, you're trying to duplicate the flower." Like, yeah. I didn't know. Yeah. Even at the very beginning when she's like that whole thing with like trying to save Chadwick. Yeah. I didn't realize that's what she was trying to do was recreate the flower. Yeah. No idea. So I thought Shuri was Ironheart. That's where I thought that came in. Right. And it wasn't. Right. So it was I was surprised all the way around. Yeah. The death that happened. Yeah. Shocked. Didn't think it was going to be that. I thought it was going to be M'Baku. I thought he was going to die in this movie. Yeah. And he didn't. Yeah. Another thing, I really liked his character in this movie. I really loved his character. A great role model to Shuri. Yeah. And it was cool to see, like, I promised your brother, like, right. I'd look after you, which I thought that was a super cool little thing. Namor.
Yeah.
I love Namor.
Yeah.
I think the route they took in telling his story was great. I thought it was really, really good. I love how they portrayed the sea, like the ocean.
Yes.
I thought his fighting scenes were super cool. Like when you first see him like really flying around in Wakanda.
In Wakanda, yes.
It was I was tripping out. I was like, dude, this is dope. Like, in my opinion, they did him justice.
Yeah.
They did Namor justice.
Which, to be fair, when I first saw that he was gonna have the ankle wings or whatever, I was worried because I'm like,
really,
that's cheesy, bro. Like, how are you gonna pull that off? And when the things in Wakanda start popping off and he starts doing the flying thing, I was like, this is cheesy. And then I like the way they navigated that graphically and like continued to kind of like show that I quickly was like, no, this makes so much sense.
It even looked good. Like, it didn't look weird. It didn't look unnatural. It looked like correct.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that, but
right.
Yeah, no, it was cool because like you see him kind of running through the air. Yeah. Like you see him taking like the steps in the air. I don't know. It's the little things like that, like his just him maneuvering. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And to kind of go off of like what you were saying, how Marvel's formula quickly changed into too much comedic relief.
Yeah.
Because I think Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man are exception characters because you have somebody stupid enough as Drax where everything goes over his head. So that's build up for plenty of jokes.
Right.
And sarcasm. And then you have Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt naturally is he's a funny guy. So you got that movie. And then Paul Rudd is witty. He's just kind of like, so for his character to be funny and sarcastic, whatever you may want to call him, like, makes sense. And it was even good in Ragnarok. Like, it brought life to that character. Right. But I think it died the moment like Thor: Love and Thunder came out. Yeah. Because they pushed try to be funny way too hard. Right. And it ruined part of the movie. But this movie is dark. It's not like crazy dark, but it's a lot more on the darker side than we've seen for a while. Like, it's in the terms of like Iron Man being dark. Right. Yeah, like it's Iron Man. You're obviously going to get your funny moments because it's Tony Stark. Right. But it was a very serious matter. Yeah. And it was like taken very seriously. And I feel like that's how they did this Black Panther. Yeah. I agree with you on the rating. I said it was an 8. Yeah. Solid movie. The only thing that I can for sure say that the first one has better, like 100% than this one, is you're not beating Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. As a Black Panther villain, Killmonger was a better villain than Namor. Really? 100%. And I love Namor. That's, how much I love the kind of funky side characters that nobody really talks about. Yeah. Namor's one of them. Yeah. And I think they did amazing. And I think the actor killed it. Yeah. But you're not beating Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. Because the amount that he did to Wakanda and to even get there will forever be more than what Namor did in this movie. Because Namor wasn't trying to rule Wakanda or like destroy them. Like, that wasn't the goal. It was don't mess with my city. Right. Or you'll get messed up. And then, they messed with the city and they got messed up. Right. He did what he said he was going to do. But so did Killmonger. And in my opinion, Killmonger did it to a higher level. He killed T'Challa, and he became the king. Like,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Plus, I think acting wise, I think I don't know who this actor is for Namor. I don't know if he's in other movies. I don't know if this is his first time being in a film. I don't know, but nonetheless, Michael B. Jordan knew how to be Killmonger, and I'm not saying this guy doesn't know how to be Namor, nothing like that, but he was Killmonger.
Yeah.
Like, this guy, in my opinion, he could be replaced. I think somebody else could play Namor, but he still did an amazing job. I just think that Michael B. Jordan really did an amazing job in the first Black Panther, and I can't say that Namor was a better villain than Killmonger.
Interesting.
Even though Namor lived.
Right.
But
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think more of the sentiment of like, this guy can, be replaced or whatever. I think he did a really good job at being Namor.
right.
I think even just the Aztec approach to the character is really interesting because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Namor is pretty one-dimensional comic book wise.
Yeah.
Like obviously like there is a backstory to his character, and maybe I just need to do more research into his comic book counterpart. But Namor is pretty one-dimensional. Like he's basically he's basically like Aquaman for the
he's 100%
right.
Yeah. It's so, the copy of
right. But I think the depth at which they go in this is really, really interesting. Like even the way in which he got his name is really cool. I was like,
no, that's dope.
Whoa, that's crazy that I don't know that you can go so deep into a culture and like a history,
right,
and go like, and yet connect that to a pre-existing character that I don't necessarily know if Namor's nationality in the comics is Hispanic, but to my knowledge, it's not. It's just
I'm pretty sure it's island. I think he's like an islander in the comics. If not, he's. I think he's white. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I want to say he's like an islander.
I think
would make sense.
Like I think it just depends on which comic book you're looking at, because I think with each new comic book, like his nationality changed, and I was like,
probably
that's crazy. But seeing kind of the heritage of that kind of like shining through. I think this is what I mean when like you can really show off a specific heritage and culture without it detracting from the plot.
Right.
If you look at Miss Marvel, in my opinion, Miss Marvel focused too much on the Pakistani culture.
Right. And kind of threw away the plot.
Exactly.
It's like, it's great to show off, culture and like by all means go for it. But it's the same thing with any kind of, what's the word? Really anything. It doesn't matter. Like quite literally anything. If you focus too much on one thing to portray, whether it's like a race, a religion, a sexuality, an orientation, it doesn't matter. Like by all means, do what you're going to do, because it doesn't matter in the end. But if you focus solely on the fact that this is what makes them different, and you throw away the entirety of a story, it's not going to be good, no matter what it is. And I agree. That's why Ms. Marvel wasn't a good show.
Right. But I will say too, like, if you're telling a story, or if you're creating a movie around this culture outside of like, with the pretense of it having to be a superhero movie, I think in that context, you can tell a really compelling story.
Right.
But we as comic book fans are coming to the movies and like the TV shows and this content with the expectation that we're going to watch a superhero movie.
Right.
That the definition of what a superhero movie can change, yes, but there are some core fundamental pieces to that I feel like need to stay intact, or else you're not just detracting from the superhero genre, but you're detracting from telling a compelling story. Right. This is a great example of like really delving deep into the culture of like the Aztec culture.
Right.
Really diving deep into that, and yet like having it aid the plot and the story, right, and like sewing that into the fabric of the plot and it meshing very, 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 very well.
Yeah. See, the reason, like another reason why I think Killmonger did a better job is I think the storyline set up Killmonger's character very nicely for who he became. Because like it became these cousins and like their fathers or their actions are now the cousin's problem, and it brought out an emotional kid, and so with the emotion behind Killmonger's character, I think it brought that much more intensity, while Namor, there wasn't like he didn't have that emotional buildup. It's just a war, like per se, like. And I'm not taking anything from the character because I really do love how they did how they did his character. It was incredible. Right. But I think the emotion behind Killmonger's story, because he had a little side story in there too. Like it was good. I think what he had to go through and like him working his way up to get to Wakanda and then winning over the throne, like I think all of it is just it's captivating. It's like he did it. Like he's one of the very few villains in the MCU where like he won. Now I'm not saying he overall ended up winning. Obviously he died, but for a fast say he won. Like he did do it. He did what he was trying to do. His overall goal failed, but one of them didn't. He actually succeeded. So I definitely do think Killmonger was a better villain, but because Namor's still alive and because the way it ended kind of leads for future of seeing Namor. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do with his character, because in the comics, he's more so an anti-hero. And in this, they really made him look like the villain. Like he was the bad guy. Like it was very clear he didn't care. Like he's making a point, and if you're going to cross him, he's going to prove his point to you too. So it'll be interesting to see, like, because the last thing he says is, when Wakanda comes to us, like when they need help, that's when we strike, something like that. You know, like, is he going to strike Wakanda when they're at their lowest? Is he going to actually like aid? Is he actually going to like do this peace treaty? Like, what is he going to do? So I find it interesting, and I think it's cool to leave room for thought for fans, because I've always loved doing that. I love like thinking out the possibilities of what could happen. And I think they lined that up just as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got the anti-hero vibe from Namor in this movie, because really at the end of the day, he's just concerned about protecting his home.
Right.
Now, I think it was Akuma and Namora, which are his two, like, you know, henchmen or whatever. I got more of like a villainous vibe from. Like, I think they're just hunters and they're just trying to like, they don't care. They just love the fact that they're on the hunt.
See, because I mean, I could see an anti-hero out of Namor right now, but at the same time, he's over here trying to demolish all the surface. Like, he does not like them whatsoever.
Right.
So, like, yes, he's protecting his kingdom. But the fact that he went out about it, in my eyes, more as a villain does. Not to rule over everything, but to be the one that's feared of. Like, you're going to fear us. Like, don't mess with us. We will kill you.
Yeah. And I feel like his whole thing was revenge, which can be villainous, but I think in the way they set it up, it seemed more like it was seemed more like he was again doing it for the greater good. It wasn't from like a selfish intent. Whereas I feel like that is what differentiates an anti-hero sometimes. Differentiates a hero from a villain. An anti-hero from a villain is villains have a
personal agenda.
Right. And then
but then
you got like Thanos and stuff.
I don't know where to quite put Namor yet.
Yeah.
Like, I see him more leaning as of right now, because I think he's going to end up being an anti-hero. I think he's going to help out eventually. Like, I don't see him being an actual villain and dying off a villain. Because if that was the case, I feel like they would have done something like Killmonger and just kill him off.
Right.
But because they saved him, I see him being an anti-hero. So hopefully that is the case, because I'd love to see him team up with like this new roundup of Avengers. I think it'd be super cool and super, like, I don't know. I just think everything that's getting set up for like these new Avengers is like weird, awkward, like funky, but like cool, because it could work. Yeah. If they do it right. So
yeah.
Bro, did you see the mid-credit scene?
Yes.
Bro, how do you feel about that?
I just have questions at this point. I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Are you ready?
Okay. I mean, I have ideas.
They're setting up a Young Avengers movie.
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
But he is 6 years old, 6 to 5 years old. 5 to 6.
Right. But we still have time, because we were introduced to Wiccan, and I always forget the Speed one. Speedball? I think, no.
Speed.
Is it just Speed?
Yeah.
There's, anyway, whatever. But we were introduced to them in WandaVision, but then they disappeared because they're not real. So then we see them again in Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they were confirmed for something else. I don't remember, but
I think it's the Agatha Harkness show.
Probably.
I think so.
So you have them that you still have to introduce. And he's still young, like toddler, basically.
Right.
But then you also have Cassie Lang. You have Iron Man's kid, which she also kind of got to do a little bit of growing up.
Well, technically, I think they're going to go the Iron Heart route for the Young Avengers movie.
That's stupid. Anyway,
no, but she's a part of like she's a part of those team. A lot of those like Young Avengers type teams.
So I mean, like hopefully they do use her character like for that. And then you have Kate Bishop.
Right.
Oh, and then you have I don't know his name, but it's basically the kid version of Captain America. Because we saw him in
Falcon and Winter.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that'll be Patriot.
Yep, that's his name, Patriot.
And then there's also Miss Marvel.
Oh, Miss Marvel too. I forgot.
I feel like Spider-Man probably could be a part of it, but it just depends on how Marvel and Sony kind of work it out.
Right. But like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this, but you've seen that movie, right? Like the Young Avengers movie?
Yes.
Like the animated one? It's one of my favorite animated movies.
It's just so good.
It was very well done. I love that movie. I need to go see it again.
Yeah.
It's been a fat minute since I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Because it's dope. Also, it was a nice little separate tribute to Chadwick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I loved it. It almost got me crying. Yeah. Almost. I teared up. Like there were tons of waters in my eye.
Yeah.
No tears. But if they would have talked for like maybe 3 more minutes, it would have been waterworks.
Yeah.
And then I also teared up when they did the Chadwick Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also teared up.
Yeah, that kid actor did a really phenomenal job.
Yeah. Okay, we basically have said it, but in the mid-credit scene, big spoiler, discretion. T'Challa has a kid. We basically have already said it. If you haven't gotten it by this point, like you're stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for continually watching us. Keep listening in.
Thank you, morons, for sticking around and no. Yeah. A lot of surprises in this movie.
Dude, I was shocked every single time.
Yeah.
there was one thing I wasn't shocked about. I wasn't really shocked when
we've prefaced the fact that we're going to talk about spoilers. So you're good to
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wasn't really shocked about was Shuri killing off Namor. I had a feeling like
I mean,
like part of me, like I feel like there was still the option.
Yeah.
Like she really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And she was real close to do it.
Yeah.
Like it took everything in her to not do it. So but that's the only thing that didn't really shock me. I had a feeling she wasn't going to kill him off, and I would have been real pissed if they did kill him off. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Shuri was gonna die for a split second when she got stabbed.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, how her and her entire family gonna die within 2 movies?
Yeah,
3 movies. Sorry.
Yeah.
The mom dying, bro. The queen dying was stupid.
I did not expect that.
Like I said, I thought it was going to be in Baku. I thought there was only going to be one death, and it was going to be in Baku.
When he got hit by Namor, I thought that was over.
I didn't think he was going to die. I was like, there ain't no way this dude gets hit and he dies. I would have been laughing. I thought that was, but I thought it was stupid that the queen died. Like, I think they killed her off in a really stupid way for the fact that, like, they're underwater, but the queen wasn't unconscious. So if you think about it, like, logistically, the kid was unconscious going underwater.
Mm-hmm.
The queen became conscious, got her, and went far enough up, and then got pulled out, saved her, basically. She was unconscious a lot less than the girl was.
Right.
So if anybody should have lived, it should have been realistically the queen.
Right.
The 19-year-old should have died.
Right.
Not the queen. So the way that they did that was realistically stupid. Like, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, that's a dumb way to go. Like, you should have, like, shot her or something. Like, threw a spear through her or something. Like, give her something dope to die from.
Yeah.
She drowned.
Yeah.
In her own home.
But she drowned doing the saving aspect of.
Yeah, but it was stupid. I'm just kidding.
I don't think they should have killed her off, because
I'm kind of glad they did.
I think, and like, I'm not walking away feeling like it detracted from like paying tribute to Chadwick's death, but I definitely feel like that kind of like it then didn't become about Chadwick dying. It just became about this whole lineage of this fake family dying. And I was like,
yeah,
all right, we didn't need to do this though. Like,
but so my thing is like, yes, you're right, but ain't nobody cared that the queen died. I promise you that. Nobody was like
right.
The queen, like everybody was still like more so like they killed her.
Yeah.
And then went back to like, okay, but this is still Chadwick's goodbye movie.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So I like, plus I feel like it more helped build the storyline for Shuri.
Yeah.
Not the storyline, but more her arc, her character arc. So I think it was the right move nonetheless. Yeah. But I think they rushed her death, and then they rushed her funeral. I think if you were going to do that, like, give her some time. She was the queen. Come on.
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah.
But I thought Chadwick's Black Panther's casket was clean.
Really?
Dude, his casket was mega dope.
Yeah.
The whole symbol, like on his No, that was that was dope.
Yeah.
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 And I thought it, it's Black Panther.
You're on the TV?
Yeah, it's a commercial for
it's so fun.
Target, but it's Black Panther. Anyways.
Right.
I thought it was cool. Sad, but cool, because in a lot of different cultures, death isn't just a sad thing. It's also a celebratory thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought that scene was very beautiful.
Yeah.
Like celebrating to me, because it's not our culture, like it's just a sad thing. It sounds weird to say, but like it was cool to see them celebrate death. Like, yeah, it doesn't sound correct, but like, right. No, but I also understand why they do it. Like, yeah. So that whole beginning scene was beautiful. It was also, this movie was a lot more visually pleasing than the first one. A lot more. Yes. Very beautifully done. Yes. Yeah. Dude, the whole scene where the French army is going into the Wakandan outpost. Yeah. And then they step out from the shadows or whatever. That scene, or, that specific shot is probably like, yes, everything with underwater and the Talakan and everything. But like that shot is probably my favorite shot of the entire movie, because it's just so visually aesthetically pleasing. Like the colors of the suit and everything. Right. Also, the whole scene where Okoye is getting kicked off of the Dormelage for not saving Shuri. Yeah. Was like emotional. I was just shocked. Yeah. I was like, ain't no way. Yeah. Like she really did put her country first. Yeah. Yeah. And just like how even, and just everybody, like the whole social structure of that whole situation, where she's very the queen's very calm and just okay. And then immediately is just you're off you're off. You're no longer the general. And then how she's I've given my life to Wakanda.
And then even like some of the other elders are like, maybe we're like rushing into this decision.
Right.
And then her to come in with like,
pops off.
I gave everything. The queen comes in saying like, I gave everything.
Yeah, like,
so don't talk to me about like, don't talk to me about like, I was like, geez, dude. Like that was such an emotionally gut wrenching. And then like how like Okoye is just like holding back tears, and then her stabbing the spear into the ground. I was like, this is what Marvel movies need to be. Like,
it was such an emotional buildup throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah, that's the formula Marvel should be using. Not like always, like, don't always try to make things like more on the darker side or like just emotional. No, like, find those characters, like, find what works for each characters. Keep your Ant-Mans and your Guardians of the Galaxy. Keep that funny, but serious at the same time. I like, even for Thor, I think he should kind of go back to a darker side.
I do too.
I just think they've messed up very badly with Dark World, because that was supposed to be a dark movie. Obviously, it's called The Dark World.
Right.
But Thor, it's cool to see his bright and funny side.
Yeah.
But show me the warrior. Show me the Asgardian warrior now. Like, so they did very well with both Black Panther films. They did this both times because they both had the same formula. They were both emotionally drawn in almost all the characters. And you see that again here. It was such a beautiful film. Like, I actually really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I told you, like, coming down to Vegas, I was like, man, like, it has to be at least decent.
Right.
For me to, like, drive down this far again to go see a movie. Like, 'cause I ain't, like, if it's bad, I ain't doing that again. That's a waste of money.
Yeah.
It exceeded my even normal expectations. It was a phenomenal movie. Like, my normal expectation for a Marvel movie is it has to be good.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be at least a 7.
Yeah.
Like, anything less is disrespectful.
Right.
So going into this, I even lowered my standards. I was like, bro, like, I'm not going to get excited.
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting probably like a 5 at this point.
Yeah.
And that's low to me.
Right.
So for it to exceed my initial Marvel expectations, how I think they should be operated, it made me very, very happy. Like, this, I really enjoyed this movie. And like, it had its slow moments. Yeah. Because you're once again world building, which I love a good world building. I enjoy it as long as it's done correctly. But even when it was slow, it was appealing because they were talking about culture and come up and like who they were and its characters. Like, at least me, like, I care about Namor. Like, a lot of people might not. Hopefully, like, they do now because they got to see his character. But yeah, man, like, such a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see the future of these characters. When because for a while there, we didn't even really know what was going to happen in Wakanda Forever after hearing of Chadwick's passing. Like, I know we as the viewer, we as the audience were very in limbo and very like,
that movie the original movie was 80% done and he passed.
Right.
They changed everything.
So,
which, kudos to them. Right. Like, that sucks. But because I guarantee this, with Chadwick, it would have been just as good, if not maybe better. Yeah. It really sucks because Chadwick even said he was super excited for, like, Namor. Yeah. He was so excited for that. Yeah. And I think what could have been, like, I think it would have been real cool to see Chadwick go up against Namor.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I remember Angela Bassett, who plays the queen, the mom, had gone on to Jimmy Fallon and said that they had already like designed these really cool like new costumes for the Black Panther and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Before Chadwick passed away.
Wow.
And then he passed away. So I would love to see that concept art and kind of like what those costumes look like. But yeah. So, and we came into it not really knowing what was going to happen or whatever. And when I heard that most likely Shuri was going to be the next Black Panther, I was really concerned or not really concerned, but I was just like, seeing Shuri's role in the first Black Panther movie, I didn't get the leadership vibes from her character.
Right.
Now, in that movie, she's supposed to play kind of the techie side character. And, I think if Chadwick was still alive, they probably would have built her up into more of a leadership role.
Right.
But obviously, like, we didn't have that experience with her as a leader. So I was really concerned because I was like, I don't see how that's going to happen. I was pleasantly surprised with Letitia Wright and her interpretation of the character and how she went about doing that, how she kind of stepped up as a leader, not just, like in the terms of the story, but as an actress, how she was able to convey that leadership role was very, very well done, in my opinion.
See, it's even cooler. It's not cool because it's sad that it had to be this, but all of those emotions when talking about like Black Panther, like were so real.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that they weren't acting.
Right.
That was real emotion, which I always love when they're able to tap into real emotion. And it's not like those acting techniques where you make yourself cry or like whatever. Like, no, that's real, raw emotion. Like, that's how they felt recording it.
Right.
And I don't know, it brings out a lot more power. It brings out a lot more emotion for those characters. And I agree. Like, Shuri was not supposed to be the leader type.
Right.
She was supposed to be like how Ned is, but way more scientifical.
Right.
And so like this is what I mean by like I think it was the best route to go killing off the queen because it only ignited this fire under her even more so.
Right.
Which I think with that character, because that fire was ignited, she's not one to run away and hide herself. She's going to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
And go do her thing. And she did it very well. And I love how M'Baku was kind of that role model for her at times. Because like the whole scene where he's like, I don't think we should kill him.
Yeah.
Like we should make peace with him because you kill him and that's war for generations and generations and generations. It's an endless war instead of what could be a peace treaty.
Yeah.
So I think he played a much bigger role than like what people might make out to be. Because even though he didn't say much, he didn't have very many lines. He probably had just as much as he did in the first movie, but even then, those small little conversations with Shuri like meant something. Like she actually did listen. It didn't seem like it, but she was hearing him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool too. I really liked M'Baku in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became more of a likable character.
Yeah, and as of right now, he's king.
Is that true though?
I would assume so. Like
I was really confused by the whole like rights to that whole final scene where, Shuri's supposed to come off and fight for her right to be ruler of Wakanda.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden M'Baku's stepping off. I'm like, I was really confused because I don't know if he's king and she's just protector, or
as of right now, I think how it is he's at least right now reigning as king until Shuri feels like because who knows how long Shuri's going to be in Haiti.
That would make sense.
Right. So as of right now, M'Baku is going to be king until like it could be a day before Shuri goes back to Wakanda. It could be 2-3 years. Like we don't know because it just left off as her in Haiti.
Yeah.
And like even I don't know the character's name, but she was like, "Come live with me in Haiti."
Yeah.
Like, so we don't know. So yeah, she could very well be protector of Wakanda. She might not even be that. Like, she might just be the Black Panther and like gone. So I do think M'Baku was king, and I think when Shuri does return, she has the right to fight for the throne if she wants. Right. I think that would make the most sense.
Which, here's hoping that's true, because if that's true, that's a very, very incredible take on the character. That's really cool.
For M'Baku or Shuri?
For both, honestly.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
Kind of having M'Baku reign until she's ready, and then when she comes back and is ready, then he's more than willing to like give up that throne. Or
especially because this movie, I think, bonded the characters. Yeah, him being like, "I'm doing this because your brother asked me to." Like, this is for him. But then it also turned into, "I do care about you and like your well-being." So it became a type of family bond that grew because of the situation that was given. Right. So it's her own like kind of family in M'Baku. And so it would only make sense that she trusts him to lead. Like, it only makes sense.
Right.
So, especially, sorry, I don't know why I rambled on. No, I literally have nothing to say.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I rambled on right there. I had a little spasm attack.
Yeah. And, I don't know why I interjected either, because I know I did have something to say, but I can't remember. I don't know if you caught it, and maybe you did, but the whole scene where, first of all, Shuri's entrance after she becomes Black Panther, Shuri's entrance into that whole like inner circle thing.
Was she like?
Yeah, was the sickest thing ever.
Yeah,
when she just dropped in, and I think she knew it too. But the whole scene where they're just like arm wrestling, like once she drops in.
Yeah, no, that was dope.
But so I was like, this is stupid. But then I was realizing, like, no, in order to take on the title of the Black Panther or whatever, you have to have the right by some sort of like challenge or like fight with another one of the leaders. I think that was kind of like an informal but kind of formal right to the character. Because that whole sequence in the beginning of the first Black Panther movie where T'Challa is fighting M'Baku on the waterfall scene to kind of for T'Challa to gain his right as rightful ruler of Wakanda.
But they don't do that for Black Panther.
What do you mean?
They don't do that for like, but they only do that for the ruler. They only fight for ruling.
Well, yeah. Well,
because they took away his power.
Right.
The waterfall. So,
but either way,
strictly for ruling.
But either way, the queen had died.
No, you know what? I think it's for both.
I think it's for both,
right?
Because I think if you are the ruler of Wakanda,
you're the Black Panther. Yeah, right. Because T'Chaka was Black Panther,
right? And his father before him,
and then the only reason why. Wait, did T'Challa become Black Panther while T'Chaka was still king?
Yes.
So then, okay. I mean,
then
it makes sense.
Separate. Yeah.
Well. So I think it is one, but obviously T'Chaka became too old to be the Black Panther, so it comes down to who he chooses. Or, like, he's royalty, so he's obviously going to give it to his son, like, and that becomes the protector. But then once King dies, then it's up for a challenger.
That makes sense because T'Challa was Black Panther before he had that whole fight sequence with. Oh, dang it! This is why we need to rewatch the first one because I'm forgetting all the important details.
So I think so because because he was in Civil War,
right? Well,
and he had already had the powers, and that's when T'Chaka died. But he was already Black Panther.
Right. And I forgot that in that first fight sequence, they also strip Black Panther of his powers.
Right.
I forgot about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So then the fight then is truly to be the ruler of Wakanda.
Yes. I think, you know what it probably is? It's probably like the person, like whoever's ruling can either become or chooses.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know. That would make sense to me. Like,
yeah,
because I don't think M'Baku would ever become Black Panther. I feel like in his character, that would make sense to become the Black Panther. I feel like even M'Baku would choose somebody else to become the protector.
Yeah, and I mean he could become. I mean yeah. I know the whole time I'm like the obvious answer of who is going to become Black Panther is Shuri, but the whole time I'm thinking like, oh, it's going to be like Okoye instead, or oh, it's going to be Nakia instead,
right?
And then it was still Shuri. It was like, okay, that makes it. It just makes the most logical sense. So why not,
bro? I'm just so glad that movie shocked me. Like,
yeah, dude. That's why when for one of our news segments, I was talking about how a new Black Panther trailer came out. That's why I was saying, like, I'm really glad you're not watching any of these trailers because I knew there was good. Obviously, from the trailers, we find out that there was going to be another Black Panther. And that it was most likely going to be Shuri. So I'm glad you didn't watch it, and I'm glad you did get surprised in the end.
You know what sucks though?
Huh.
So before I watched the movie, an Ant-Man trailer came out. Like in the theater.
Yes. Yeah.
And I watched it. Like I was just like, you know what? Like whatever.
You're already in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have covered my eyes and ears, but like, I was like, man, like, how much do trailers really give away? And then I watched Black Panther and I was like shocked about everything. And I was like, I shouldn't have watched the Ant-Man trailer.
Yeah.
But now I did. So now.
Yeah.
I know.
There's that trailer.
That one is so vague.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially with it being like Quantumania, like the whole quantum realm, we finally get to like discover it.
Yes.
So vague. So I just won't watch the second one.
Right. I was like, if you didn't watch any other trailers aside from this one, you're gonna come into it fairly fresh minded. And that comes out in
February.
That's really soon.
That's the next movie to come out.
Yeah.
Besides,
and then I think
it's Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Right. But after Ant-Man Quantumania, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the next one to come out. I think. But I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So. All right, man. Well, let's wrap it up because we've been talking about this movie for way too long.
Yeah, I'm surprised we talked about it for that long.
I know. It's valid, but...
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Any closing thoughts or anything like that you have for it?
I would say if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it, but you just got the entirety of the movie just told you, so that wouldn't make sense.
There's some things we didn't go into detail about, like how Killmonger is the one that Shuri saw in the afterlife.
Killmonger. Yeah, that is true. We didn't say that.
That surprised me. That shocked me. But now you know everything about the movie.
Yeah, now everything is spoiled.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, that's it. I don't have any closing remarks.
Yeah, I really love the
Solid movie.
Ironheart. Yeah, I really love the Ironheart suit. I thought that was super clean.
I thought the face of it was weird.
Yeah, it's new because it's not necessarily something we've seen on an Iron Man character before.
Right.
So
I loved her character though. I loved the character who like built it all. I thought she was cool.
She was really funny in the movie too. But yeah. All right. Well, Jaden and everybody and myself
and everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we shall catch you next week.
Yeah.
Yurt.
Adios.
Deuces.